a poem by Federico Moramarco, 180 Degrees. Have you considered the possibility that everything you believe is wrong, not merely off a bit, but totally wrong? Nothing like things as they really are. If you've done this, you know how durably fragile those phantoms we hold in our heads are, those wisps of thought that people die and kill for, betray lovers for, give up lifelong friendships for. If you've not done this, you probably don't understand this poem, or think it's not even a poem, but a bit of opaque nonsense, occupying too much of your day's time. So you probably could stop reading it here, now. But if you've arrived at this line, maybe, just maybe, you're open to that possibility. The possibility of being absolutely, completely wrong about everything that matters. How different the world seems then. Everyone who was your enemy is your friend. Everything you hated, you now love. And everything you love slips through your fingers like sand. Please keep the silence as you move and stretch. If you like, get some tea, and we'll meet back in here in 5 or 6 minutes, and I'll ring a bell when it's time.
Beginning again with beginner's mind. Something we just want to keep close to our practice. And of course, beginning again is part of the practice. And as we know, when we are in our formal posture and practicing mindfulness meditation, we notice our intent is go to the breath, go to the sensation of the breath, but it doesn't stay. And that's okay. So that's where beginning again becomes so useful. So it's not like we've done anything wrong, or we're not practicing, or it's not a good meditation. Just means it's part of the practice, beginning again. Beginning again, because that's the nature of the mind, and especially an untrained mind like mine. So that's important, beginning again, and reminding that. And it can be a trap when we at least don't have some kind of understanding about that. And then beginner's mind. The poem was perfect with beginner's mind, because that's exactly what it takes, is an empty mind. You think, boy, I've never heard that before. Well, I hadn't either until I came to the practice, an empty mind. But it just means opening to all possibilities. If we rely on our mind and we conceptualize what's going to happen within this practice, it doesn't work. We're opening. And so, in order to be open, everything has to be open to possibilities. And it's never, ever what you think. And insights will come in the craziest ways. Maybe. I guess I'm talking about my own practice. So we also talked, last week I talked about one Dharma, or one truth. And this particular lineage that goes back to Jack Kornfield and Joseph Goldstein and Sharon Salzberg, one of the things that they made real clear at the very beginning, that there's only one truth, but there are many, many paths. And so sometimes when we start practicing, or we start anything new, especially practicing meditation, we kind of close around it and forget about the spaciousness that is important in practicing it. I call it dogma. It's when we think we've got it and we dogmatize it. And we think everybody should know about it, and certainly everybody should use the particular skillful means that I'm using in order to wake up. So thank goodness that was taught very early, that there's truth. There's no one has a corner on truth. No one. So let it be, like Randy says many times, a gift. Relax, observe, and allow. And really, the entire practice hinges on if we really want to know the truth. Because that's what, when we're still and we're quiet, and that sense of calmness and peacefulness, solitude, you begin to see. You begin to see what the eyes can't. And so it gets, as you well know, much more interesting. Because what maybe you have not seen before, you begin to notice. And that's good, but it can be scary. And we use our body to investigate our body. Or the practice to investigate the body, sensations and feelings, our mind, and mind qualities. All the things that really keep us from understanding who we really are. So, but we have to be cautious. We have to be nice to ourselves, and that is so hard for some of us, most of us, to be nice to ourselves because it's so counterculture. It's like, I don't want to be nice to myself. That sounds so like kindergarten or something. Love everybody. But if we don't, we're going to scare ourselves off our cushions or our chairs and scare our away from the practice that's not only going to teach us how to live, but also will teach us how to die. So don't impose on yourself. I had to just say it that way. Because don't impose. Exerting firm control over oneself or the practice won't happen. Because remember, it's a relaxation. It's an opening. It's not a striving. It's not a pushing. It's not like we're trying to learn something that we learned in college or high school. No. And all the things that we use, those processes that we used, are not useful. So we're learning new ways of learning because we're learning something with a beginner's mind. And it always changes. So it's a journey, and the journey is the practice. So how do we begin to listen? How do we begin to listen to ourselves, which is our journey? It's a journey within ourselves. How do we listen to ourselves? Well, Wayne Dyer says, the essential lesson I've learned in life is just to be yourself. Treasure the magnificent being that you are and recognize, first and foremost, you're not here as a human being only. I love this. Remember this always. You're a spiritual being having a human experience. Wow. Does that not speak to you? Mm-hmm. And it also explains form and formless, the paradox that we get so bogged down in. You read it again. You're a spiritual being having a human experience. Well, Nisargadatta, an Indian wise man that a lot of our teachers hung out with, said, all you need is already within you. Only you must approach yourself with reverence and love. They keep saying that, these wise people. Self-condemnation and self-distrust are grievous errors. All I plead with you is this. Make love of yourself perfect. So if we don't believe either one of them, maybe we'll believe the Buddha, because the Buddha says you can search throughout the entire universe for someone who's more deserving of your love and affection than you are, and that person will not be found. So, those are good pep talks. I'm going to start loving myself just a little bit more. Especially knowing I'm a spiritual being experiencing being a human. That was it. So this is what it will take. This is what it will take. And we don't believe it. And it's one of our biggest challenges, as well as one of the things that keeps us entrapped. And so as we begin to look and listen to ourselves very deeply and closely, we begin to see what our attitudes are towards ourselves. And that's important. What are we telling ourselves? And as you well know, we can be our worst critic. Unworthiness is something that is in this culture. It's taught. Unworthiness. Not being good enough. So thank goodness there is a path that teaches us that we are perfectly imperfect and to embrace it. And so, Hinapoli Gunaratana, I'm going to call him now Bhante G, because it's hard to say Gunaratana. Bhante G is what he's known for. He wrote lots of books, but Mindfulness in Plain English, If you haven't read it, we highly recommend it. But this is what he says. To begin again in the practice, and what stumbles, what holds us back. He says, number one, don't expect anything. Oh, I'm going to meditate. I've told you this before. Oh, I'm meditating. You know, I kind of have this kind of, let me see, what personality would you call it, Randy?
Angel wings?
Angel wings. No, that's what I wanted. Had this personality where I thought really that was going to shift and I was going to have these wings and a halo. Well, nothing changes. I still have the same personality as I had 40 years ago. It hasn't changed. But what has changed? It's how I relate to this personality. It's how I relate to this ego. It's how I relate to life that I don't like and want. So just sit back and see what happens. You're not the only one that's full of good, bad, and ugly. We all are. But we don't get distracted. We can't get distracted by us creating these concepts of what we're here for. It stumbles. We stumble. So he says, let the meditation move at its own space, at its own time. I want things done yesterday. So you see the rub? Let the meditation teach us what it wants us to learn. Number 2, don't strain. Don't strive. Boy, that's a hard one, isn't it? Don't strain. Don't force anything or make grand, exaggerated efforts. Meditation is not aggressive. We don't set hard goals that we strive to set. We set intentions where we plant like a seed, plant something, plant the intention of wanting to meditate. But it's not a goal that we strive for. It's something that we intend to do. And then as we go, we begin again with beginner's mind. And so, let's go to number 3. Don't rush. Don't rush. There's no hurry, so take your time. And there's 3 things that he says that is a must. And keep it close to you at all times. Doing walking meditation, doing your formal meditation, doing your practice during the day. And the first one is patience. Patience. And the second one is more important than the first one. It is patience. Patience. And the third one is, come on, class, patience. Patience. Wow. One time I told Randy, I said, Randy is a very patient person. Annoyingly patient sometimes. That's okay. That comes from me. It doesn't come from him. But I said, Randy, I really want to work on patience because I see how that causes me a lot of suffering. And so we worked on it for a while, and it was such a relief to start noticing what patience brought to my life. But we need to begin again because I forget. Got it? So number 4, don't cling to anything and don't reject anything. We're open to it all. That's the only way we can get to the truth, is open to it all. And that's why we're setting ourselves up so that when the good and the bad and the ugly arises, we don't freak out. We know it's okay, it's phenomenon, because we begin to experience it as phenomenon or objects. The mind, the sensations, the mind qualities, mind stories that come up, they come and they go away. So we begin not to trust them as our guide, how to live. We begin to apply them in ways where it doesn't cause us more suffering. And he says, Bhante Ji says, look on all of it as equal and make yourself comfortable with whatever happens. Acceptance, surrender. I've heard that before. Look on all of it as equal and make yourself comfortable with whatever happens. Don Juan in the Castaneda books. Remember Don Juan said, what did he say?
Nothing's more important than anything else.
Thank
You got it.
Nothing's more important than anything else. Nothing is more important than anything else. I was thinking of the one where he says, have death on your left shoulder or your right shoulder.
That works
That's
too.
the only one I could think of, so thank you. So nothing's more important than anything else. Now we're thinking about this. This is the big mind. This is not the little form where we're in a package deal that we have to live our daily life. We're talking about big mind. Or Ram Dass says, it's all grist for the mill. And so number 5, he says, let go. Learn to flow with it all. Oh, wouldn't that be fun? Such freedom. You know, that's why I've always heard the song, row, row, row your boat, going down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
I think it's gently down the stream.
Oh, okay. Who cares? I never get things right. That's why I have to quote people. So, he says, subject all thoughts and mindsets to the actual test of your experience and let the results be your guide to truth. And we've talked about this before. Truth can only be experienced. We can hear it, but it really does not. We do not embody the truth until we directly experience it. And that's where the practice takes us, because it's experiential. Buddha says, points us. A lot of our teachers points us and said, you find out for yourself. I can't do it for you. Number 6, view all problems as challenges. Look upon negatives that arise as opportunities to learn and to grow. Reminds me of, did I do the how to make a mistake useful? Did I do that here? Well, we had in elementary school, when I was elementary school principal. Did we talk about this, how to make a mistake? Well, one of the things that we all noticed was we couldn't make mistakes, you know. And when kids made mistakes, some of us wanted to not only punish them, but then they wanted to do, all right, then let's do this, then let's do that, we always call it, Randy and I called it double dipping, and sometimes triple dipping. So I created this process of it's okay to make a mistake. Do we all make mistakes? And this is for teachers and for the students. Yes, we all make a mistake. So, do your teachers make a mistake? Yes. So how do we make this mistake useful, a learning tool? First of all, be honest about it. Oh, I'm an imperfect human being. I make mistakes. How many people are you around that can make the smallest mistake and can't admit it? We know them all. And it's so kindergartenish. And so, making mistakes, okay. What do? You're honest. Then you try to fix it. Apologize, whatever you do. I've made a mistake. This is the way I can fix it. And then you forgive yourself and forget it. And then wait for the next mistake to come and follow the same process again. So problems are opportunities. Mistakes are opportunities. And so, Monty G says, you have a problem? Great. More grist for the mill. Rejoice. Dive in and investigate. And the last is don't ponder. And you know, you've heard this a million times. Can't come through the mind. It's beyond, it holds the mind. But awareness holds the mind. But freedom cannot be figured out through the rational mind. It won't free us. If it did, great, but it doesn't. So there they are, 7 of them. And so with that, I'm going to stop. I'm trying to think of what Anand Tupton said in that, along with that we heard the other day, that Dharma talk, that was so profound. I wanted to share it.
Can't remember.
You can't remember it? Maybe it'll come in a minute. So next week, we're going to go to step 1. And one of the things we're going to really dive into is the 4 foundations of mindfulness. And of course, that's mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of sensations and feelings, mindful of the mind, the nature of the mind, that's a big one. And then all kinds of mind qualities that will come up in our practice that we all share, that will come sooner or later for all of us. And we're going to start with mindfulness of the body and what's happened within my own practice, because this is something Randy's applied. My practice has started with the nature of the mind. I've always been interested in how this mind operates and how it creates so much suffering in what we do. Randy has mindfulness of the body. And so he's very good at teaching how to not only practice, but how to live, how to perceive through the whole body. And so, and there's another teacher, Gil Fronsdale, who doesn't have a lot of books, but he's got a great website that really gets down on mindfulness of the body. So we're going to start there, and we're going to go a little deep, and then we'll go through it all. But with that, I really will stop. Randy, anything?
Well, just one thing I was confused about. You said you had your personality for 40 years?
Did I say I had my personality for 40 years?
Yeah, I was thinking, I really married a younger woman.
Well, let me say I've had my personality for 70 years. Let's just make that clear, since we're looking for the truth, okay? All right, thank you. I've been practicing for 40 years, with the personality is the truth. Okay, anything.
Trick or treat. Say something.
Don't have to.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
Paul was about to say something.
Paul, are you about to say something profound?
No.
Just so it's not profane. All right, well, let's practice. And this is another, this metta. I can't tell you how many years I pushed it out of my practice because it seems so artificial, or I don't know what it was. It was my own mindset of bringing love to myself. So let's have a beginner's mind on metta tonight, or yes, a beginner's mind on metta tonight. I'm talking to myself too, of course.
So we'll end with this metta practice, which is a practice just of letting yourself reside in the space of loving kindness. Why not? So for the metta, you can sit back, relax a little bit. You don't have to sit straight if you don't want. Just kind of ease into this moment once again. Feeling your body, the aliveness of your body, the miracle that it is. Connecting with your breath once again. One of my first teachers was named Ramdas, and he would sometimes say, let yourself be loved. Let yourself be loved. So metta is what we do, and you can use the phrases that I use if you like, or make up your own. As you hear the phrases or say them, imagine the loving kindness washing over you like a wave or like an echo from a canyon. It's back on, so you can feel the metta, the loving kindness. May I feel safe, free from danger and harm. May I feel happy and content. May I feel well in my body and in my mind. And may my heart rest with ease and well-being. In this moment, may I feel safe, free from danger and harm. May I feel happy and content. May I feel well in body and mind. May my heart rest with ease. Now, the wish for loving kindness for everyone here tonight in this Quaker meeting house. May you feel safe. May you feel happy and content. May you feel well in your body and mind. May your heart rest with ease and well-being. So now offering loving kindness and receiving it at the same time. Now letting the boundless heart open to include all beings, this neighborhood in San Antonio, Texas, even larger, this country, this continent. The entire world now held in your heart. May all beings feel safe. May all beings feel happy and content. May all beings feel well in body and in mind. May all beings live with ease. So happy Halloween, everyone.